Hello, everybody, and welcome to Let Me Finish. Sorry there was no show last week, but we needed a break, a chance to, replenish our story batteries. So we're back. Hello. For those of you who need to be reminded, on this show, Atticus tells a story, and I try to interrupt him. If I can do it and prevent him from telling his story within 30 minutes or less, I win the podcast. If he manages to finish within 30 minutes, he wins the podcast. It's a really simple concept. I am Jason Harding.
And I am Atticus Blake.
The lovely and talented Atticus Blake.
I missed all of you.
I missed everybody, too.
Yeah.
I'm competing for affection. I miss you more.
I miss you more.
Now, I wrote poetry about you, and I drew a picture of what I believe you guys look like, and I kissed it every night.
That's
Win.
okay. You win. That's really gay.
I know. I have those tendencies. Okay, Addie, are you ready to tell a story?
I think so.
Okay, still unnamed fictional referee. Ring the bell and let's get ready for a story.
So, I wanted to tell the story about that time I met Dimebag Darrell. Now,
wait. That's great. I don't know who that is.
That's what I'm getting into.
Oh, okay.
Dimebag Darrell is the former
Is he
lead
a drug
guitar
dealer?
player.
Is he a drug dealer? Please tell me. It sounds like a drug dealer.
He probably did deal drugs, but no, he was actually one of the most famous guitar players who ever lived.
That I've never heard of.
You've listened to Pantera, you have listened to Dimebag Darrell.
I have not listened to Pantera.
I love my band.
We come from two very different schools of thought when it comes to music. You like metal. I like new wave from the 80s.
Are you sure you're not gay?
I'm positive I'm not.
Do you like
gay.
New Order?
New Order. Joy Division.
Yeah.
Tears for Fears.
Oh, I'm sorry. Joy Division and New Order don't have similar band members? What was that?
Nothing. Never mind. Continue
Atticus
with your
knows
story.
this stuff. Okay. So when I was about 13 years old, I had started to play the guitar. And
You know what? I will say, full admission, I have heard of the band Pantera, but I've never listened to them. And I used to think that they were like an Italian bakery.
Panera, like Panera.
That's the joke.
Yeah, that's why I ruined it.
Okay, thank you.
So when I was about 12, I was a chubby little kid that no one liked. Well, not no one. But
Wait. A chubby little kid that no one liked?
almost no one.
Aww. Now you're making me sad. I was a chubby little kid, but everyone liked me.
But you know who loved me? My
Who?
music, my guitar.
Oh, God, this is getting sadder. So
Hey.
it's just you and your pet guitar?
Me and my guitar, and the few friends that wanted to hang out with me were also outcasts and wanted to put together bands and play music and do stuff
So you
like
were
that.
a musical Goonies. You were like Chunk, and then there was the nerdy Asian kid, and
Hey, Bilbo was one of those people.
yeah, I know. And he was what? He had not amnesia. He had asthma. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh, I was really hoping that Dimebag Darrell would wind up being like Sloth, this mutated guy with a hunchback.
Yeah, well, the
and
way
a
he
head.
drank, he might as well have ended up that way. But no, Dimebag Darrell was killed in 2004 by a crazy fan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm disrespecting the dead.
Mm.
My heartfelt apologies go out to Dimebag Darrell's family. You know, half an ounce Harriet and.
This guy was such a talented guitar player. He is buried with Eddie Van Halen's Frankenstein. You know who Eddie
Wait
Van
a minute.
Halen is?
Wait, Eddie Van Halen made a Frankenstein?
No, Frankenstein is the red guitar that he always played on stage, and Dimebag Darrell is buried with this guitar.
This podcast is just going to demonstrate how little I know about metal, dude.
That's all right. You can still make your silly jokes. That's the whole point.
Okay, fine. So you are a fat, disgusting loser kid.
I was also a gay Christian.
With your two loser, can you say that you definitively? How old did we start? How old were you when we started this story? 7?
12.
12. Okay, at 12, yeah, I guess at 12 you'd kind of know.
I knew when I was like 9, dude.
Oh, okay. That's true because you were touching your dick by 7.
Yeah, and I haven't stopped since. In fact, I'm
No.
jacking it right now.
Oh, stop it! Did you name your guitar, by the way? Did it have a neat name?
No, it did not. I didn't start naming them till later.
Oh, okay.
My guitar. Okay, so you know who Ozzy is. Please tell me you know who Ozzy Osbourne is.
Yes, of course. Everyone knows who Ozzy Osbourne is.
His very first solo band, his lead guitar player was a man named Randy Rhoads. I'm sure you know who that is. Please tell me you know who that is. No, you don't.
For the sake of not disappointing you, sure. Randy Rhoads is awesome.
Randy Rhoads played a guitar that was individually made for him by Jackson Guitars, and I owned a copy of it. That becomes important later on. Now,
when you were 12, you had a copy?
I had a copy of it, yes. It was a really nice guitar. I still own it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I would take weekly guitar lessons down in the Denholm building in Worcester. You've been down Main Street, I'm sure, so you've probably seen it, just didn't realize it. Every week for about 3 years, I went there and learned to play the guitar from a guy named Glenn.
Was Glenn like a burnt-out guitar dude, like an ex-hippie?
No, he was actually kind of a young dude, and he was in his early 20s, and he was an extremely talented guitar player. He knew how to teach. He knew how to get a person really amped up to learn to love their craft.
Did he teach you first? This is a chord that will peel the panties off ladies, and you're like, I'm gay.
He actually used to say
shit. Here's the chord that'll get guys to bend over for you.
It would have been awesome if he did. No, but he did say stuff about ladies all the time.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
And he's like, this advice is going nowhere, Glenn.
No, he would say, every good buddy deserves fudge, which is like the anagram to help you remember the E, G, B, D, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's also a sign that hangs over the gay bar, the End Up in San Francisco.
Okay, but what he would say instead was every groovy chick deserves digs football.
Mm-hmm.
To help you remember the.
So Glenn is a cool guy. He's a cool
dude. He's got a big smile. He's like, hey man, you're the only one that wants to learn metal in an age when everybody else want to learn grunge.
Here, have some acid.
Oh, I bet he did. And he was the person who initially got me to love metal in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yngwie Malmsteen, Dimebag Darrell, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads. All of these people were like the four horsemen of guitar playing for me. I loved them. Tony Iommi, people like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved playing my guitar, and that's what I did. I might as well have done it naked, covered in Vaseline.
You did. Let's just cut to the chase. At home, parents not home, balls cleanly shaved. You were top to bottom covered in Vaseline, playing your guitar naked.
No, I wasn't.
Oh.
You wanted that so badly, didn't you?
Well, from here on out, that's how I'm going to picture you playing your guitar.
Yeah, okay. So one day I go in, and Glenn explains to me that this really, really awesome person is going to be at the other satellite store, and you have to go meet them. You have to go meet them. And I said, who is it? And he goes, Dimebag. I'm being serious.
Sorry, but the name carries it doesn't. If you said something like Zoroaster, the Magnificent, or something along those lines,
I would kill the fuck out of Zoroaster. He'd stab him up the asshole with his guitar and continue playing.
Okay, so he floats these words over your dreamy little head. Did you know who Dimebag was at the time?
Vaguely.
Okay.
Only vaguely, because I was just sort of moving on up in the cast of finding guitar players that I really liked. And then he goes, oh, no. You know who that is? It's the guy from Pantera. We learned that song last week, Cemetery Gates. I'm like, oh, all right. And he's coming here? What an amazing coincidence.
Why is that a coincidence? Oh, because you just learned all that.
Because I had just learned, Cemetery Gates.
And you were still a little Christian then. So you ran home and thanked Jesus that your satanic guitarist is going to be coming to town.
Oh, it was a constant conflict. Do I stop listening to metal? There was actually an occasion where I got rid of all my metal albums.
Yeah, I was wondering, because you were growing up a little Christian boy, but you were in love with the most satanic music that America had to offer at the time.
Yeah, I would always pray, Jesus, don't take my metal away. But guess what won?
Metal?
Yeah.
Which is always funny, because you know what? Jesus looks like a metal star.
Oh, please. He probably...
With the long hair and the beard. You just put him in some leather and, or a British schoolboy's uniform. Give him a guitar, and he could rock out with his cock out.
And bleed all over the guitar because of those...
Yeah. Oh, that would be the perfect... Midway through the Jesus Christ metal show, he gets nailed up to a cross, and then he pulls himself down, and then he plays scenes and there's blood all over the place. It'd be like when Gene Simmons would spit blood on the audience when he was with Kiss.
I've seen them live too.
You're lucky.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't seen Kiss live?
No.
Sorry.
This is not the mock podcast. You're not supposed to be turning the tables on me, making fun of me. I'm making fun of you.
I've also seen Van Halen live with David Lee Roth.
See, the whole thing is that I went to go, my favorite band in high school was Oingo Boingo. So I saw them like 7 times. And that was the only band that I would
go see them, though. I would go see them.
Yeah, they were awesome live. They were really awesome. And there was always a mosh pit. And
did he stop and play the Simpsons tune?
This was before he really was doing any of that shit. No, almost invariably at some point he would get hit in the face with a shoe that was thrown from the audience, and he would stop the show and say, if one more shoe hits me in the fucking face, well, I'm going to leave the goddamn stage. I don't care if you guys beat the shit out of each other out there, but don't throw shit at the band.
All right, so he hangs those words over my head, and then I come out and I tell my dad, "Oh my God, Dimebag Darrell is going to be at the other satellite store. Can we go down there and visit him next week? Can we do? Please, please, please." And all week I am anticipating this. I am loving it. I think it's amazing.
Your dad said it's okay for you to meet a guy named Dimebag Darrell.
He was okay with it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did he not know what a dime bag was?
My dad knows what a fucking dime bag was.
But you're like, I want to meet a guy named Dimebag Darrell, Dad. It's kind of like running up to him and saying, I want to meet a guy named Crackhead Smith in an alleyway behind the 7-Eleven. I want to meet a girl named Jerk Me Off Sally. Can I go meet her, Dad?
Oh, God. No, my dad was cool.
Okay.
By then, my parents were divorced, so he was like,
oh, you know what that was? That was the divorce guilt. It was like, I'll make him happy. I'll go, we shouldn't have put him through this divorce. I'll let him go see anybody.
Yep.
What, you want to go see Child Corruption Jones? Sure, go right ahead. Dad, I want to see Molesty Magoo. Can I go? Yes, of course. Can I be in this room alone with him?
With Ozzy, please. Yeah.
Okay, so this is like Christmas week. You're like, oh, Dimebag Darrell.
Christmas week, and Bilbo also went to the same guitar teacher.
Oh.
At the other satellite store.
You have to remind everyone, Bilbo is your best friend.
At the time, yes.
Yes, because we made a reference to Lord of the Rings earlier, and now we're saying Bilbo, and people are like, he's had a psychotic break. He thinks Bilbo is the stand-in name for his best friend. And
at the time, things kind of slowed down now. He's still a good friend, though.
Okay.
Either way, he and I had actually been friends for a while.
Now.
He and I had actually been friends for a while before we actually realized we had been taking guitar lessons with the same guy, just at different stores.
Oh, wow. You guys really talk a lot, don't you?
Well, no, I knew he played the guitar. I knew he took lessons, but then, it was just a weird thing where we were like, yeah, I take guitar lessons down in Worcester. And he's like, yeah, I take it in Southbridge. I'm like, who's your guy? What's his name? He goes, Glenn. I'm like, what? My guy's name is Glenn, too. And he goes, wait, is it Gordon Music? Yes, it's Gordon Music.
Are you going to go see Dimebag Darrell?
Anyway, and he didn't get to.
Oh, because his parents were like, you are not seeing anyone whose name is Dimebag Darrell.
Actually, so Bilbo actually liked music more along the lines of the stuff you like.
Oh, he liked British and anyway, he liked the Cars. And, stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah, and he liked a lot of the grunge era music that was around at the time.
I like grunge.
He liked Skinny Puppy, things like that.
Mm-hmm. See, around that time, I was getting into. At that time, because I'm a little bit older than you. At that time, I was getting into like Marilyn Manson.
He's old enough to be my dad.
I was getting into Marilyn Manson and Rage Against the Machine and Nine Inch Nails. Actually, I take that back. I did go see Nine Inch Nails.
That is Skinny Puppy.
Oh, that's okay.
That's Skinny Puppy era stuff.
Yeah.
Without Skinny Puppy, there would be no Nine Inch Nails. Without Nine Inch Nails, there would be no Marilyn Manson. So now you got to go on the internet and search Skinny Puppy, and you'll understand what I mean.
I don't gots to do anything, man. I'm a rock and roll soul.
Gots to.
Rock and roll don't follow no rules. Okay.
It doesn't?
No, I don't. I hope not. It would be horrible if you showed up to your rock and roll and go, okay, here are the rules for rock and roll. Number 1.
Is it your religion and your love?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I did have a change in musical taste at around the same time that you were getting ready to jerk off Dimebag Darrell in a back hotel room in Worcester. I don't know what. Oh, I'm sorry. The only thing I got wrong was where it was going to take place.
So if you don't, okay, so I know you don't know what he looks like, but he has long black curly hair, long black tight curly hair, and he's got a mustache and foo like you.
Okay.
And he would sometimes dye his beard pink, and he always wore a razor blade around his neck.
Okay, a real one?
A real one.
Jeez Louise.
Double-sided razor blade. Yeah.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, he was hardcore. Yeah. Anyway, so my father takes me to the store.
Also for his cocaine.
Probably. I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, so now I have a clear picture of what he looks like, kind of like a skinny Lou Albano.
He was skinny at the time, but he eventually got kind of fat.
Okay.
Yeah, that happens. So. My father drives me down to the Southridge store, and I have my guitar in the back. I'm like, have him sign my guitar. Have him sign my guitar.
Your replica one.
My replica guitar.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to sign it right here. No, right here. No, right here instead.
Okay, you're super excited for someone that you only kind of heard about for a week before.
But I had been listening to Pantera for a long time. I just didn't really listen. I didn't really listen and go, oh, that's the guitar player's name?
Oh, okay. So now you're totally amped. Your dad is like, oh, just get him there. Just get him there. Hopefully this will turn him straight.
I don't think he was worried about that.
Do you think he knew at that point?
No.
Okay.
He didn't know until I told him.
Really? He was actually he said, really? That's a surprise when you told him?
Yeah, that could be a whole nother fucking podcast right there.
We'll save that story. We'll tuck that away right here in the story bin.
Yeah, so I get inside the store, and it is jam-packed with people holding their guitars, holding their nice brand new Fenders, and they have his guitar, which is incidentally that's the guitar I own right now, which is the Dimebag Dean Razor guitar.
Okay, so this is an instrumental story about the formation of you.
It's part of it.
Okay,
it's part of it. But I walk in with my Randy Rhoads copy with bumps and chips taken out of the paint, and it's got my pick scorings on the paint, and
careworn is the word.
It is used. And I started to feel very self-conscious about the guitar.
Oh no!
Yeah, so I can't.
Your guitar shows play. It shows that you use it.
Yeah, but it's jam-packed in such a way that everybody's taller than me. Everybody that's bigger than me.
Everyone's older than you, probably.
Everyone's older than me, and I'm obscure. I cannot see this person sitting up in the front at a little fold-out table signing things, and I can kind of hear him over everything because he's got a country accent.
Oh, okay.
He's from Texas.
Oh, yeah. God.
And he's like, oh, and I can kind of hear this over everybody else. And I'm standing in the back, and for some reason, about 6 or 7 people had come into the back directly behind me, and the way that they moved actually pushed me to the front.
Oh, so you got swept up.
I got swept up, and then I ended up being kind of hustled to the front. You could kind of say it was my first mosh pit, but it wasn't really a pit. It was just a crowd of people came in like they were trying to get into a fire.
So you're surrounded by tall guys with metal stink all over them. I imagine a lot of leather and jeans and scarves and T-shirts, probably a lot of T-shirts and long hair. Okay.
So, yeah, and I got swept up and pushed to the front, and I ended up having to use my guitar to pivot myself from falling over.
Oh.
So what you see in the front is this little boy, long hair, by the way. I had long hair. A fat
chubby little boy with long hair.
Leaning on a Randy Rhoads guitar as if he is pushing a sword into the ground. You know how the image I'm trying to make? And I'm like, oh, and this other guy grabs my arm and helps me get back up, and my father just kind of left me there because he was like, nah, I don't really care about this.
You knelt before him like a knight.
Yes, exactly. That is exactly what it looked like. And then somebody said, hey, he's got a Randy Rhoads guitar.
Oh, who? Some voice in the crowd?
Some voice, and then...
It was probably your dad in the back. Hey!
Look at him! So what happened was I looked over at the person like, oh shit, this is the only thing I'm really self-conscious about. This is this ugly damn guitar. And then I look forward, and I am in the front, and I am locking eyes with Dimebag Darrell, staring me straight in the fucking face. And he looks the guitar up and down as I'm still kind of trying to get myself back up, like looking like an idiot. And I look like a holy shining knight of ridiculous guitar playing. I'm a paladin.
You are a young squire kneeling before a knight, going, "Please, sir, may I be your squire? I shall cook you rabbits, and I shall put the ringlets in your hair.
I'll put the stew on. Yes, yes, master.
I shall procure the prostitutes and load them properly with the cocaine and the marijuana, and push them into your hotel room, and ask no questions, please, sirrah.
Why did 3 go in and 2 came out?
I shall not even ask that question ever, and I shall bury bodies if you need me."
And he looks at me and then looks the guitar up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of saying anything, he just kind of holds his hand out, and so he's giving me a hitherto hand. Please come here. He's not saying anything, and I sort of nervously walk over and I hold out my guitar.
Yeah.
Horizontally, and then lay it on the table in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at it and he goes, "Is this homemade?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, he thinks it's a piece of shit." And he goes, "You want to know why? Because that is my favorite guitar player, Randy Rhoads.
Oh my God.
Lauren's first guitar player is my favorite guitar player."
You then loaded your pants with cum. You're like, "Clark."
There was a river of cum flowing out of Gordon Music Southbridge at that time. And he said, "Where do you want me to sign it?" And I didn't even look. I just pointed to an arbitrary place. And he said, "This is beautiful. I love it." And then he looked at me and he goes, "You keep on jamming, kid."
Oh, shit. And then you fainted.
Yeah. I drowned in my own cum at that point.
Do you even remember leaving? Or did you just kind of float out and your dad had to hook your pants leg with a rake to get you off the ceiling and drive you home?
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
adorable. And
Yeah.
then you went home and you rubbed it in Bilbo's face.
No, I shellacked it so that the signature would never be able to be removed.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't use the guitar anymore. All the parts have been taken off of it to fix other guitars, but that signature's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I continued listening to Pantera to always tell people that I listened to this guy, and then I heard that he had been essentially assassinated on stage.
Wait, like he was doing something and then his head popped open from the sniper's bullet?
Well, what happened was he started getting death threats from this person named Nathan Gale, who was I don't know what mental disorder they decided to label him with, but he was saying that they stole his music, but he was also upset that the band broke up. It was just this weird thing that was all his life, and
so he was basically a psychotic who loved the band too much.
Way too much. Yeah.
So much that the love turns into hatred.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, great. We seem to specialize in those kinds of crazy people here in the United States.
Yeah, we do. So by then Dimebag Darrell was playing in a band called Damage Plan, and this was always with his brother, Vinnie Paul, whom is an incredible drummer, and I can talk scads about that guy fucking too. Vinnie Paul and he were in Pantera together, and then when the band broke up, they made another band called Damage Plan, which they made one album because he had been murdered on the first tour.
Oh my God.
So what had happened was at a small venue, I can't remember the place off the top of my head for some reason, so Nathan walked in and shot him with a snub nose directly in the chest, like 3 times.
Oh my God.
While on stage.
Jesus Christ. Did he kill himself afterwards?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, so
Yes.
It was like bang, 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 and then bang.
And then, people wrestled him to the ground, but yes, I believe he killed himself. I don't really give a fuck about him because he's such a piece of shit.
You do know that people listen to the podcast for happy.
Yeah, I know, but you asked for a
This is the
story.
second podcast in a row where people died in tragic events.
And you can't even make it funny.
So far, we have done people in old age homes being humiliated by their caretakers.
Young men being humiliated by their friends.
Car murder. Breaking and entering.
Mm-hmm.
A man tragically falls and breaks all 5 million of his ribs.
Wait, what was that one?
That was your stepfather-in-law.
Oh, all right, yes. All 5 million of his ribs.
Suicide by airplane.
Sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment. And now we're doing fan murder. and suicide. Oh my god. So, okay, so how long ago after the fateful meeting did this murder take place?
So when I was 12, it would have been 1993. So in 2004, he was killed. So 11 years later.
Okay, 11 years later, and you're now 19, 20.
In 2004, I would have been 23.
23 years old. Okay, so you're 23 years old.
And I was dating Dana at the time. We didn't have our second child.
Okay.
But she actually stormed into the house and dropped the apartment and dropped all the groceries on the floor and said, "Did you know that Dimebag Darrell was killed yesterday?" And I hadn't even heard it.
And
she knew how much I loved him because wherever I moved, that guitar went.
You wrapped the guitar in furs, in crates, and made sure that a team of 9 people carried it to your new apartment or whatever.
Or I just carried the fucking thing in by the neck and then put it in the closet. Yes, and that was a very tragic day for me. But I always remember that he told me to keep on jamming.
And are you still jamming?
I still am.
You're keeping true to your rock and roll promise?
I am, but yeah.
Because when you die, Dimebag Darrell's going to be waiting for you.
He's going to stab me with Eddie Van Halen's guitar.
Yeah, if you haven't lived up to your rock and roll promise, he's going to stab you with Eddie Van Halen's guitar. You're going to look like the cover of that AC/DC record.
The end.
Oh, no, you don't. You don't get to tell a guitar story without paying tribute to Dimebag Darrell. I'm going to force you to play some music. Not very many people on the podcast know this, but you are an accomplished guitarist, and you are going to pay tribute to your hero. You made me care about some guy that I don't even know about, so now you're going to play.
Okay.
Yay! The end?
That's the end. I can go forever if you want, because that's my sex.
You're really good. Okay, that's it. Did Atticus win? I have a feeling he may have. Thank you for tuning in to a sweetly bittersweet episode of the podcast. I would like to thank everyone who's tuned in and listened. Please remember that you can find us on the Apple iTunes store. Please go there and leave a review. They are very helpful to us, and they help us get us noticed. You can also find us on Soundcloud at www.soundcloud.com/Lemme-Finish. And you can also find us on the Stitcher Network under Lemme Finish. So until next time, this has been Jason Harding.
And I am Atticus Blake.
Bye, everybody.
I'd be the worst actor ever. Actor ever.
Definitely never host a TV show because you're the camera.
I am Dimebag's Paladin.
Yes, you are. And done.
Christ.